true learning has been hidden from us for thousands of years. Now through the Spirit of the Lord, which He had to die on the cross for us to get this knowledge. If you knew the significance of why He went on that cross, man, you'd never look at that the same again. He had to die for us to get this knowledge.
That's right.
From His Father.
And that's how the Lord is gathering His elect, by the word being out and preached out here. And then the ones like yourself, you know, you heard the word. So if you're part of the elect, the Lord, now with the word that you receive, now you'll be sealed.
Wisdom,
you know, so we're calling out with the word of the Lord, and the Lord is the one doing the sealing. Those people obviously weren't part of the elect because they were scoffing. So it's like the word went like this, you know, just kept bouncing off their ears. That's why they came up the way they did, and then they left. You know, but you're still here listening. You know?
Itself says study to show that self approved. You got to study the Bible, but you got to study other books. When I say other books, I mean like the documents, the records, history.
It becomes a way of life.
It becomes a way of life.
Hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Alright, Shalawam, Shalawam. First off, giving all glory, honor, and praises to YAHAWAH, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, QADASH. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who will well and teach well. And I say Shalawam to the hopeful elect, and I came out there push this word and this truth into sincerity across the four winds in the name of YAHAWAH, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI. Alright, we're back into another lesson today. It's going to be the final part of a three-part series going into who the true Israelites are based on the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Alright, and this is an additional part to the Bible Basics series that we're doing here as well. Alright, so we know that we've gone into for the first part, you know, we went into about 5 of the curses. I think we went into about another 5 on the part 2 as well. And this part 3 here, we're gonna finish it off. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead. We're gonna try not to make it too long, but you know, we're gonna let the Spirit move. Alright, we're gonna open it up. We're gonna start out as we always do. The curses for the Israelites start at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Alright, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. Okay. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So meaning that these curses that we've been going over, they have come upon us and overtaken us. All right, there's no way we can get from under these curses without. Let me say it this way: there's no way we can get ourselves from underneath these curses. It's not possible. YAHAWASHI is the one. He's the only person that can come and get us, all right, through our Father Yahweh, all right. So, just to kind of give you like an image of it, have anybody ever seen the old school cartoons where, you know, a character may have one of the characters may have this cloud over their head, you know, there was always thunderstorm and rain and everything like that, and no matter where that person went, the cloud went. So Jacob tried to move to a different city or a different state, and it's just the same thing. These curses, you cannot run from these curses. They're going to be with us until YAHAWASHI comes back, and we're going to go over that here when we get to Deuteronomy chapter 28. I'm in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. All right, but let's go ahead first. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 64. All right, and it says, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even stone and wood." All right, so we know that we were scattered. All right, so our people are all over the earth. We're from one end of the earth to the other one. Let me see if I can bring up Salakia. Let me see if I can bring up the 1 second. Just to kind of give a I'm gonna give like an image of what I'm getting at here. All right, here we go. So these are our people. If you look at it, we're all over the place. All right, You got your Issachar, who are your Mexicans. You got Asher, who is the Colombians and Hungarians. Naphtali, who is the Argentine and Chiles. Reuben, the Samal Indians. Gad, the native North American Indians. Salakia. Manasseh, which is the Cubans. Ephraim, Puerto Ricans. Zebulun, Guatemalans and Panamanians. Simeon, who is the Dominicans. Levi, who is the Haitians. Benjamin, who is the West Indies. And Judah, all right, who is your so-called Negroes. All right, point is, we in 24, that's like in 28 and 664, we were scattered from one end of the earth to the other. Our people are all over the place. All right, we were scattered everywhere. All right, and then it says, thou shalt serve other gods, neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right, the most popular ones today that people like to try to go into, you got mainly your Christianity. All right, who serve Caesar Borgia, who is called your Jesus. All right, that nigga there. All right, that's not our Father is Yahawah the Father, and the Son is YAHAWASHI. All right, that's our Savior. All right, Yahawah is the Most High. YAHAWASHI is the Son. All right, we've done multiple videos to prove that. All right, you got Islam. All right, that what goes into who is your that goes into that wood, and you got Mecca, the god Mecca that goes into to that stone. We know that, but we only let me put it like this: we only what's the correct word to say here? We only give attention to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. We put it like that. Those are all the other ones. We don't give a fuck about Yasharahla. We don't give a fuck about your Islam. We don't care about Mecca. We don't care about any of these other so-called entities that people worship. The only person that we praise, the only one that we praise and worship is Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, let's go to the next one. 65. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 65. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahawah shall give thee there a trembling heart and a failing eye and a sorrow of mind. So we can't catch a break here. All right, you work Monday through Friday. You might have something you want to do on Saturday, but you gotta do all your shopping and all of that shit there to make sure you keep your food and everything like that. Then Sunday, you got to do whatever your day of the week does. But the point is, we can't catch a break. All right, most of the time the Shabbat or the day of rest falls on the day of the week, a day of the week sometimes. I think it's coming up this the new moon comes in, I think Friday night to Saturday night this time. So we'll rest Friday night to Saturday night, for this new moon, for this cycle that's coming up. And then the new moon or our Shabbat day is going to change again. All right, but the point is that most of the time our day of rest falls on a day where a brother has to go to work. All right, and that's why we have to have that balance and understand that we are in this grace period where we have that grace and mercy that a lot of these things are out of our hand. But the point is, we find no ease. We can't catch a break. All right. I just did a video on the movie the Enemy of the State. All right, and if you look at it there, watching that video, the Jake there was played by Will Smith. All right, but the point is, Salakia. The point is that he couldn't catch a break. All right, the more he tried to get away from Esau and the government, they just kept finding him. He was always on the run until they finally caught him. All right, you had a plan and everything. You had to watch. It's a very good spiritual movie, especially going into the MOTB and everything. That was the video that I did on the YAHAWAH for that. All right, but the point is, we cannot catch a break here. All right, we do not have any rest. The only rest that we're going to get is when YAHAWAH returns and we're in our own land. All right, we're at home. We're not at home right now. We're not at rest. We're still in captivity. All right. This is Deuteronomy. Next one, Deuteronomy 28 and 66. All right, and thou shall hang in doubt, Salakia, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. All right, so like we're a lot of times like you have to move where we have to be vigilant. We have to be awake because shit like niggas like it ain't even just the niggas in the two-thirds. Like you got police brutality and during the times of physical slavery. All right, back in those days, you had your casual kills during slavery, where the owner could just do whatever he wanted to do. Those are called your casual kills. But now in these days, we're a threat to ourselves. You got black on black crime. You got the police brutality. All right, so the fear, that's that fear, day and night, and there is no assurance of our life. The only assurance we have is the grace of YAHAWASHI, and knowing that YAHAWASHI will is gonna be done, and we're gonna be taken care of. All right, I did a quick search on that one. All right, going into that, no reassurance of that life, or having that fear day and night, and our lives shall hang in doubt. Our lives shall hang in doubt. All right, this is the black. When I said you can't really find information about the casual kills during slavery, because a lot of that wasn't. Of course, it wasn't. When you do your searches, it's not easy to find those things. I'm pretty sure it's out there somewhere, but for the sake of this video, it wasn't anything that could actually be found going into the casual kills or how many slaves were actually killed during slavery. All right, but the point is, we're a threat to ourselves as well. All right, so I did a search here on black crime rate. It says in the United States, so-called black homicide rates are much higher than white homicide rates. All right. So-called black victims are more likely to be killed by another so-called black person. All right, that means we're more likely to kill ourselves than we are to kill somebody else. We are a threat to ourselves. All right, Jake does not like life. Jake hates life. He hates prosperity. All right. In 2020, this is where it says the homicide rate. In 2022, the homicide rate of so-called black victims was 29.0 per 100,000, which is nearly 4 times the national rate of 77.7 per 100,000. All right, victim offender relationship. All right, and in about 80 to 90% of so-called black homicide cases, the victim was killed by another so-called black person. We are a fucking threat to ourselves. All right, so you got the other camps out there who talking about unity camps and coming together. We're only here for the elect. All right, we're only here for that number that YAHAWASHI is looking for right now in this time. All right, 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. All right, there's nothing we can do about that. It's already written. All right, and if you look at it, it's for the best, because we can't take these niggas with us to the kingdom, especially with these niggas with the mentality they got, the drill rap, and like, again, we're a threat to ourselves. All right, so imagine putting all these niggas in one spot, and you got people now who can't even go around the corner. You know what I'm saying? So we are a threat to ourselves. All right, in 2019, 55.9% of all homicide offenders were so-called African American. All right, systematic barriers. So-called black Americans are disproportionately affected by systematic barriers like poverty, limited access to education, and lack of affordable housing. All right, but that's all Esau's doing. Esau does these things. He puts these systematic barriers in place so Jake can do these things. Jake is going to do it because you niggas are predictable. All right, gun violence. Young so-called black men in inner cities are primary victims and perpetrators of gun violence. High rates of illegal gun possession among young men in urban areas contribute to the risk of deadly encounters. All right, who puts the gun? Who makes the guns? Esau makes the guns. Esau puts the guns there. Esau puts the drugs there. Esau takes the funding out of these neighborhoods. He takes the fund. Esau controls the funding of the education. All right, Esau controls the housing. They control all these things. They put all of this stuff out there as snares and stumbling blocks in front of Jake so Jake can act the way that they're acting. All right, but it's all according to prophecy. It has to happen. All right. And we also went into what we was talking about. Let's not forget about the police. All right, you got police brutality. All right, this is police on so-called black crime rate. All right, so-called black people are disproportionately impacted by police violence, including homicide. In 2020, so-called Black Americans were 9.3 times more likely to be a homicide victim to be homicide victims than white Americans. So like the so-called white Americans, we know the so-called white Americans, that's your Esau, all right, Esau Edom, all right. Police shootings, so-called Black Americans are shot and killed by police at a more than twice the rate than so-called white Americans. 93% of civilian deaths caused by police are with a firearm. All right, 93%. All right, drug arrests. Who puts the drugs into society? Esau makes the drugs. All right, who puts them out there? All right, so-called black people are about 1 in 4 people arrested for drug law violations, even though they make up 14% of the U.S. population. All right. Police stops. Police are more likely to search so-called black drivers than so-called white drivers but are less than likely to find drugs and weapons. All right. So the point is here is that we are a threat to ourselves. All right. We also have the police brutality and everything. But the point of that scripture here is we're going to reread it again. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. Whether you dead or you going to jail or prison or whatever, it hangs in doubt. All right. Thou shalt fear day and night. We don't know if a nigga going to kick the door in. We don't know, especially once YAHAWAH puts that spirit on YAHAWASHI puts that spirit on Esau, hit that switch. Man, we don't know. There's scriptures, there's prophets that say people are going to come in our houses and try to spoil our goods. All right. So thou shalt have no assurance of thy life. All right. The only assurance we have, or the only assurance or what's the word I'm looking for, or expectation that we have for this is YAHAWASHI. Cut and dry. That's it. Only insurance that we have, or reassurance, or whatever you want to call it, that we have is YAHAWASHI. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68. And YAHAWAH shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. All right. So people talk about slavery. Slavery was a part of the curses. Whether you like it or not, slavery was a part of the curses. And the curses came upon us for not hearkening and not listening to YAHAWASHI. All right. Let's start back from the top. And YAHAWAH shall bring thee into Egypt again by ships. But by the way thereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. So let's break that down. All right. It says YAHAWAH shall bring thee into Egypt again by ships. If you go into I think it's Revelations 11 and 8, if I'm not mistaken, it talks about the land that is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. That's Babylon. That's here. That's in the U.S. We were brought here by ships during the transatlantic slave trade. All right, let's get that. All right, transatlantic slave trade. All right, the transatlantic slave trade was the transportation of enslaved so-called Africans to the Americas by the so-called European slave traders. It was a violent and horrific chapter in the world history that lasts from 1501 to 1867. All right, let's just get to the meat of this. All right, the European traders would sail. All right, it said by ships. It said that we were brought to Egypt again by ships. All right, let's read that again. The European traders would sail. What sails? You don't sail in cars. You don't sail in planes. You don't sail on a horse. All right, you sail by ships, by boats. All right, the European traders, Salakia, would sail from their ports in the west coast of Africa, where they would buy enslaved people in exchange for goods. The enslaved people were then loaded into ships. All right, we were loaded into ships and transported across the Atlantic in the voyage known as the Middle Passage. But it says we were loaded into ships. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 6-8. And YAHAWAH shall bring thee into Egypt again by ships. All right. By the way thereof I spake unto thee. All right. So we came over here in ships. All right. Let's catch the Let's catch it. That's what the transatlantic slave trade, slavery, was part of the curses. That Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68. All right. Let's read. The Middle Passage was a brutal journey that lasted 6 to 8 weeks. Enslaved people suffered from cruel treatment, disease, and fear. All right. Let's sell and labor. Once the enslaved people arrived to the Americas, once the enslaved people arrived to the Americas, and Yahweh, Deuteronomy chapter 28:6, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. All right, let's pull up that Revelation 11 and 8. And their dead bodies, this is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where our Lord YAHAWASHI, all right, was crucified. But the point is that land, that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, is the Americas. All right, we were brought to Egypt again, spiritually Egypt again, by ships, which is the Americas. So that's also proving that slavery or the transatlantic slave trade was part of the curses, and that's also proving that America is the spiritually Sodom and Egypt, which is also called Babylon the Great. All right. Let's get back to that. All right, let's see if we can get some more meat on that one. All right, they were sold and forced to work as laborers. Most were sold to work in South America and the Caribbean, but the number in Virginia increased over time. All right, so I looked up, what was that? What was Virginia's significance to the slave-Atlantic trade slave? Virginia was a key player in the transatlantic slave trade, and the history of slavery in Virginia shaped the nation's history. It shapes Babylon's history. It shapes the U.S., the America's history. It shaped spiritual Sodom and Egypt history. All right, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, the Americas, Babylon the Great is all the same thing. The United States of America is Babylon the Great, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. It's the same thing. All right, early arrival of enslaved so-called Africans. The first enslaved so-called Africans arrived in Virginia in 1619, and by 1730 there were 13,000 enslaved so-called Africans in the state. All right, Virginia passed laws in the 1660s that's codified a system of race-based chattel slavery. Lucky if I pronounced that wrong. All right, correct me if I'm wrong, brothers. All right, Bahasham. Plantation economy. Enslaved so-called Africans became the primary agricultural laborers in Virginia. Planters paid for enslaved people with tobacco and received land grants for each enslaved person. All right, so there's the domestic slave trade. After the transatlantic slave trade was abolished in 1807, Virginia became a major player in the domestic slave trade. Oh wow. Okay, after the transatlantic slave trade was abolished in 1807, Virginia became a major player in the domestic trade, in the domestic slave trade. Richmond became the largest slave trading center in the Upper South. All right, ports. The ships unloaded their cargo. What was that cargo? It was the slaves. All right, at the ports of New York, Rappahannock. All right, I probably pronounced that wrong too, brothers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Baba Shah. South Potomac and the Upper and Lower James Rivers. All right, Virginia General Assembly. All right, Virginia General Assembly formally banned the Atlantic trade in 1778. But what it's saying is Virginia played a significant role in that transatlantic slave trade, which is part of the curse here in Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right, but it also says that we were trading for things like sugar. All right, sugar cane was a specific thing as well. Captain Morgan, who was your spiced rum. The guy sitting on the barrel, that's Captain Morgan. He played a significant part in the transatlantic slave trade as well. Here it is. It says Captain Morgan, transatlantic slave trade, deal with the sugar cane. All right, because they use us for sugar, molasses, not just cotton. Cotton was just in the South, but you got the sugar, the molasses, the sugar cane. You got pretty much anything that was agriculture, anything that could be grown. All right. So it says, yes, Captain Morgan was involved in the transatlantic slave trade and the sugar plantations in Jamaica. All right, triangular trade, because we know the transatlantic trade slave was a triangle. All right. It says Captain Morgan was part of the triangle trade, a system that involved exchange of rum, molasses, and enslaved people. All right, here it is, rum. New England traders made rum from molasses produced by enslaved people. So the slaves, we made that. We made all of that. All right. In Caribbean, the rum was then shipped to Africa to purchase enslaved people. All right. So let's read this one more. Let's read this next part real quick. The enslaved people were transported to the West Indies and sold sugar to the planters for more molasses. All right. So the slaves made the molasses. All right, the Israelites, who we know here was the slaves. All right, made the molasses. All right, and then they had the slaves make sugar with that, and then traded that as well. So your Captain Morgan guy, and it says Captain Morgan used money and the loot from his raids to purchase 3 large sugar plantations in Jamaica. All right, so those of you who don't know who Captain Morgan is, this is that guy here. Maybe y'all know who Spice Rum is. That's Captain Morgan right there. Move this over. That's Captain Morgan right there. All right, let's get back. We kind of veered off a little bit about Salakia. But it says, and YAHAWAH shall bring thee into Egypt again by ship. So those ships was going into the transatlantic slave trade. I just wanted to drill that down because I know that slavery is when we get into that topic there, you gotta drill that down for Jake. All right, we gotta drill that down because they will take that slavery and not realize that we brought that amongst ourselves because of our disobedience to Yahweh Bahasham Al-Shah. All right, our disobedience to Yahweh Bahasham Al-Shah. All right, so the point here is, and let's go to the next part. It says, "Thou shalt sin no more again. Thou shalt be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen." What are bondmen and bondwomen? All right, let's get it. Bondmen and bondwomen. Here in the blue letter.
Strong's H 5650. Eved.
All right, Eved, slave, servant, manservant, subjects. All right. So the point is we were sold as slaves. All right, and that's what happened to us during the transatlantic slave trade. That's how we know, like that's talking about us. We were the bondsmen and bondswomen who were traded, who were part of that transatlantic trade, who were the slaves, were your Israelites. So these curses only point to the Israelites. Let's not forget this one. All right, but bondswomen. Let's get Eve.
Strong's H 8198. Shifcha.
Maid servant, slave girl. That's Eve. All right. So we were all that transatlantic slave trade is the curse in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68. All right, and it says that, and no man shall buy you. The point is, YAHAWASHI, no one can redeem us but YAHAWASHI. YAHAWASHI, he already paid for that. All right, he paid that cost for us already. All right, but we still have to play our part during this and in this captivity. We still had to play about. All right, but the point is, when you pay for something, what happens? It sits there until the person who paid for it comes to get it. All right, so we're going to be here until YAHAWASHI comes to get us. He's the only one that can come get us through our Father Yahweh. All right, YAHAWASHI is the only one. That's why he's our Savior. He's the only one who can come and get us. He already paid for that. It's already paid for. We belong to Yahweh Bahasham Al-Shah. All right. So no man can buy us. Nobody can get us out of these curses. So the people who go and make deals with Esau and everything like that, you're still servants to Esau. You're still slaves to Esau. And guess what? You still got these curses on you. You still gonna have these curses on you, and that's only Esau shit is only gonna help you for a certain amount of time. All right, let's get one more, and then we're gonna close it out. We're gonna go to Amos chapter 7 and verse 17. All right, because this is also part of what we went over this here in one of the earlier videos. This has been one part of the curses as well. We want to connect it. All right, to this is what I want to bring this scripture out to connect it to today's what's happening in real time. All right, to show you that these curses are on us. All right, this is real time right now. It's still happening in real time. All right, this is Amos chapter 7 and verse 17. Therefore, thus saith Yahawah, thy wife shall be a harlot in the cities. All right, so you got all this drill music and drill rap and this nigga rap and nigga music that's pushing our women, pushing Eve to be a harlot. The word harlot just basically goes in the whore. All right, in the city. All right. Thy sons and daughters shall fall by the sword. All right, that sword, nigga culture. All right, drill rap, all of this shit that's designed to destroy or kill off our sons and daughters. All right, these little niggas are dying at fucking 12 and 13 now at an early age. All right, and it's happening. All right, and thy land shall be divided by the land. All right, that's happening in real time right now with them small hats and them Palestinians fighting right now. It's divided. That our land is divided by the land right now. We're not at home, so we're not at peace right now. We're not at rest. All right, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity for his land. Israel shall go into captivity. So who went into captivity during that transatlantic slave trade? Those were your true Israelites. All right, those were these ones right here. All right, so again, all of these things that we're going through, all these things can be proven in real time today to show you who the true Israelites are. All right, I hope that this 3-part series here was edifying to you. All right, and I pray that you all, I pray that you all was edified as well. Until again, I'm going to say Ball, Yasharahla, YAHAWAH, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, QADASH, Barak, Atham, Shalawam.